Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's matchup brought to you by PlayVS, where high school esports meets high-level competition. The stage is set, the teams are locked in, and it's time to find out who's got the skill, the strategy, and the nerves to take the win. I'm Andy Prokopchuk. I'm here with Silver Shadow and Golden Shadow, both a Silver Shadow being a coach of the LCBI Bison's Overwatch esports team, and Silver Shadow used to be the LCBI Bison's tank. So welcome both of you. How are you guys doing?
It's a great day to kick off the spring season. I'm excited to be here and see what the kids have in store for us.
I'm also very excited, although it doesn't feel like spring quite yet.
Yeah, no, definitely not in Saskatchewan. With we just coming off our cold spell of minus 30, minus 40 with the wind chill. So yeah, okay, well, awesome. Thanks for coming in, and yeah, we're excited here in the LCBI Esports Lab to get going. So just very quickly before we dive into the action, let's break down the three roles you'll see on the battlefield tonight. So we have tank. It's the big guns up front. Tanks take the hits, hold the line, and clear the way for their teammates. They're the shield and the spear all at once. Next, we have the damage or DPS. These are the playmakers, the sharpshooters, the brawlers, the ones who rack up eliminations and break defenses wide open. If you want highlight reels, you're going to want to watch DPS. And then finally, support, the unsung heroes. They keep teams alive, powered up, and fighting shape. Without strong support, no team survives long in Overwatch. Together, these three roles form the backbone of every squad, a delicate balance of strength, firepower, and strategy. And tonight you'll see how important that balance is. So with PlayVS Spring, not too dissimilar from the fall season, we're starting off with Control, then we move into Hybrid, then Escort, Push, and then finally Flashpoints. So these are the game modes we're going to be playing tonight. On the LCBI Bison's roster, we're going to start off with our tank. So we made a bit of a change to the roster lineup. We have grade 11 student Peter Haberstock as the Bison tank, gamertag Neo Hawk. Next, we have our DPS players. That's Piper Murdoch, grade 12, gamertag Muio. Then we have Christopher Summick, grade 11, gamertag CPlay Games. So both of those are our damage players. And then finally for support, we have grade 11 student Randy Anderson, gamertag Skyfire, and Peter Haberstock. Oh no, sorry, not Peter Haberstock, sorry, correction. Caleb Turden, grade 12 student, gamertag Star Trek fan. So yeah, tonight's matchup is just a random matchup. It's our first preseason game of the season. Every single team gets mashed up into into the same pool. So we could be playing the best team in the league. We could be playing the worst team in the league. We could be playing the newest team in the league. So it's a total mix-up here. We could go either way. So maybe let's go with silver and then gold. So what do you guys think the main things the team should be looking out for in tonight's matchup? Like what kind of things, should we be working on, focusing on, especially when you're playing this random of a team? Start off with Silver.
Yeah, we don't know who we're playing against, so it's going to be interesting. But the team has been working. We started practicing here last week, and obviously, like you mentioned, some swaps in some of the areas that some of the members are playing in. So we've got a new tank. Our tank has moved to DPS. So just wanted to see how that meshes. Just trying to play around with some of the play styles that the kids had, and looking for a better all-round composition. We played really well last year. Again, made it to the playoffs, which was a big accomplishment for these kids. So looking forward to seeing how this comes about, but really want to watch specifically with Neohawk, our tank, Peter, watching how he takes space, and for our supports, really watch their position. Being able to support a group from cover is going to be important for this group.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so then Gold, with your experience being a former Bison player and actually tank, what kind of things are you looking for, and what kind of things are you hoping to see from the team tonight?
Definitely looking for communication and seeing how well they're able to play the characters and play those characters together, you definitely want to look at the kind of team comps because um, if you're all just playing random heroes, well, if you're good enough at those heroes, it could work out. But if you're playing around a certain team comp, you're definitely a lot stronger, even if you're less skilled at those characters.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
those two things I'd be looking for.
Working together as a team is so important. I guess that's kind of where we're at, where we see these teams. It's either you mesh well together, or you don't have the skill but you still mesh well together. That's good. Or you have the skill but you don't mesh together. That's good. But ideally, it's you have the skill and you mesh together. And we're about to dive into the action. Okay, so here we are. Our first game mode being control. So both teams brawl over a single objective. Win 2 out of the 3 rounds to claim the map. So we're starting off. The Bisons right now are assembling their heroes, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Who are we mixing up the mains? Is it with the switch of the tanks? Are we switching up the play styles? We're definitely in for an exciting round.
I'm actually really interested. The Bisons. Sorry to interrupt, but the Bisons made a really interesting choice. So you can ban a hero each round. And Vendetta is one of the heroes that one of our DPS players has been working with, and we kind of talked about strategy about when and how to use that Vendetta character. It's a very powerful character, and the Bisons actually chose to ban that character this round, controlling then when it gets banned, the other team won't be able to ban it now. So very interesting move on that part.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're kicking things off. Peter. Coming right out of the gate, playing as D.Va. I believe Golden, that was your main tank character.
Yeah, back when I played tank, D.Va was definitely one that I chose first. I played a couple others, like the exact opposite, which would be Zarya. But D.Va is definitely not a terribly hard character. You really gotta watch your cooldowns, and you also have to make sure you know where your healers are. The way I played D.Va...
We just saw Peter getting taken out. Looks like we have Roadhog as the opposing team's tank. Last season, we had some troubles dealing with Roadhog. Roadhog, obviously a big sponge. That grappling hook can really throw a kink in your plans. Looks like the Bisons have been pushed off of the objective. You see here Neohawk Peter trying to get a decent vantage point, trying to get the jump on them. But looks like the opposing team doing a pretty good job at laying down the damage and stopping. One thing I know is you definitely do not want to find yourself alone if you're the tank. We see here Peter's health down to 164. Definitely needs to be communicating with their healers to get the proper support so they can start sponging some of this damage and fight their way in. Not sure about the strategy of soloing it and jumping back and forth, leapfrogging like this. Looks like Peter is okay. Reinforcements have arrived. That's good. Peter presses the attack, trying to push out vulnerability, and scares off the Reaper. Ooh, watch out! You definitely don't want to get this as smarted. All right, Peter has lost his mech. Ooh, nicely used ult by the opposing team.
It looks like the one mistake that he made there is he got caught up with that Reaper. If he would have kept chasing that soldier, that would have been one out. And that's another thing you gotta look at as playing tank, is who do you prioritize taking out of the fight?
Yeah.
With D.Va, since she can dive, usually I would suggest doing the healers, because if you take out the healers, well, any damage that you do to the rest of the team is just permanent, and that makes it easier for them to take out.
Yeah, well, looks like the Bisons have a relatively successful push here, claiming the objective. Now they are without their tank, so they gotta wait for Peter to get respawned. to get back in here as the opposing team goes ahead and mounts an offensive push here.
The one thing I'll say right now is I'm not. The Bisons need to work on their positioning, get spread out, use the terrain a little bit better.
Okay, looks like Neohawk, Peter Haverstock, swapping out his Diva for a new tank, getting taken out. But Bison's doing a good job at holding the objective without the tank. I see what you mean, though, Silver. This is I think the coordination and the placements definitely need to be set up. This is kind of sheer grit. The Bisons are holding the objective.
Yes.
With.
Yeah, you can tell they're right now, and it could be nerves. First match of the season, relying on their skill rather than the positioning that we really want to see them focusing on. So.
We have Neohawk back in here. Good job keeping the opposing team off to the side, breaking through for their push. Definitely Bison's trying to aggro certain characters.
The other team, that Reaper came around behind, got an early pick on the Bison sniper that kind of set up that victory. That was a good strategy on their part.
Yeah. Looks like we're in overtime. Not sure if the Bison's going to have enough time. Obviously, the opposing team going. Star Trek fan, I think right strat getting in there, just trying to get on the objective. But looks like round 1 is going to the opposing team. So that means we're going into round 2.
Yeah, no, good round. Again, first round of the season. 92 to 100. It's not like they got blown out there at all. But definitely some things to work on. Some opportunities missed, I'll say, for the positioning there for the Bisons.
Yeah. The nice thing is, I believe these games have no impact on placement, correct?
Yeah, very, very minimal. What it'll do is it will they use the preseason games to try and help set up the initial schedule. So yeah, no impact on rankings, but it will kind of impact where you start in the schedule. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Bison's off for round 2. We're gonna follow Skyfire, Randy Anderson, support. Doing in there actually good job laying on the covering fire for the tank. Trying to heal. Looks like Christopher Summit got taken out. Those of you who don't remember from last season, Chris definitely being one of our key players. We just see that steady stream from the opposing team getting in here and taking the objective. Yeah, I think they've definitely identified Chris as a strong player. He got aggroed pretty quickly here. All right, so
and Chris isn't a very mobile character either, so that definitely has an impact. So
yeah, all right, Bison's now rearmed and refurbished, getting back into the action. Ooh, a little bit of a missed shot there on Christopher Summick's grenade. Okay, Bison's trying to break through this choke point. Looks like the opposing team obviously having that Mercy. Doing it pretty good. I would say that one thing that the team is doing, or the opposing team is doing very well. Sorry, folks, I'm not sure who we're playing, but the opposing team is doing really well. Is they seem to have very simple characters, right? Like we're looking at like old legacy characters. We got Soldier 76, we got Mercy, Roadhog, and doing a pretty good job. It's this kind of weird mix between either playing new characters that have like steeper learning curves and really mastering the fundamentals of Overwatch. Obviously Reaper. It's funny, every time I play and I'm observing. I always just get this shiver down my back whenever I see a Reaper.
Yeah, Reaper is definitely scary with that teleporting ability to get behind and take out your backline. It's something that you got to be watching out for, and really the only thing you can do to defend against that is good communication and at least one DPS who can turn around and help your supports.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, looks like round 2, also a loss. So game 1 control is going to go to the opposing team. Okay, so let's talk. So what have we'll go again silver and then we'll go to gold. What have you guys noticed in game 1? What kind of things are you kind of now keeping your eye out for?
The one thing I noticed is, again, just positioning and being in the action. You can't take time off, I guess, from being in the action. You have to be positioned going into the action, and be prepared to kind of push your agenda. I feel like we ate a lot of the other team's agenda there, and that puts you into bad positions if you're not ready for it. So definitely positioning, and as we move out to spawn, where do we want to set up? Where do we want to engage? And kind of forcing the issue on our side.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, Gold, your thoughts on game 1?
There's a lot of thoughts. Oh.
Well, okay, so let's start with like highlights. What kind of things did you see that you were like, yeah, okay, yeah, I like that. That works.
Definitely how coordinated they seemed to be. They were going off in like one direction. They weren't trying to be 5 different people. They were actually playing as a team, and that is a really good sign, especially for the first game.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so things maybe that you were looking like, what are you doing there? Like, were there any like head scratching moments?
I definitely think prioritizing who they're going after. It seems like they're just shooting at the enemy team, which sometimes works, but you really got to get everybody together trying to get one target to really taking them out one by one seems to be the easiest of taking down an entire team. And it seems like they were all kind of shooting at different people instead of trying to focus that one target.
Yeah, huge. Yeah, we definitely saw that where they're slowly trying to bleed down the entire team, but just with a quick direction from the support players, all that progress was quickly undone. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the coordination. We see the coordination there. We saw that a couple times when we had a couple players taken out. And then the Bisons did wait for respawn, coordinated an attack, and then they did the push. So we agree. The team works there. Okay, so what have you guys seen in the way of skill?
The one thing I noticed, so I spent some time following Piper. Man, you're so much better at the gamer tag than me. Miyu.
Miyu?
Miyu. There you go.
Yeah, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
We got 2 millennials here, and
there you go. Right? That's how old can I sound? Her aim was excellent. Again, new to DPS, she did tank for us last season, and so I think you could tell she was still just feeling out where she needed to be from a position standpoint. So I think that's one thing that I'm, again, aim was excellent, targeting was good, just needs to be prepared for the position so that she can do as much damage as possible with those characters. So some good and bad, that's what I'm going to be watching for here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're moving on to game 2, which is hybrid. Step 1, capture a point. Step 2, turn that point into a payload and escort it to victory. So we're excited. This is a 2-round game. The Bisons are assembling their heroes. I'm going back to what Golden said. about the idea of like assigning aggro. I think that is so huge. Because I mean, if you think about it, you have 5 guns on one, they can go and absolutely melt. It doesn't matter what healer you have. Obviously, we saw the Bisons, jumping around and trying to not be easy targets. But yeah, that assigning aggro is so important. Let's take a look and see if the Bisons are going to go ahead and make some changes to the gameplay. So we see here Christopher Summick swapping up DPS characters. Okay, let's go Golden. What can you tell us about Chris's character?
The Delta M.
That would be C-Play, right?
Yeah.
Who's Chris?
Yeah, C-Play.
Yes,
yeah,
C-Play.
Yeah, C-Play games.
Okay, yeah. McCree is basically a sniper with no scope. You have to be really good at aiming, and he has very little movement ability, so you really gotta watch where your positioning is. He does have that stun that kind of helps him get out of situations and can even take out some of those major health depleters like Arissa's Spear or Sombra's Hack. But you really gotta watch where you're standing as McCree, because if you stand in the wrong place, you're just dead.
Yeah. Well, I see here. Looks like the opposing team is trying to break through the first initial choke point. But yeah, C-Play Games Christopher Summick lands a damaging hit. We see their Mercy flying around. Definitely need to be targeting her. I mean, I think that's one of the strategies that we explore is, you get the DPS to target the supports, but we see here the Reaper in the back. Now this is, I think, interesting because, we have 2 Bisons trying to take off one of the characters, which means we're short up at the front line. Oh, it looks like they have a Widowmaker up the front. So he has Bison's defense slowly crumbling, and now waiting for them to respawn and form another offense. Okay, so looking at Neohawk swapping tank players again. Okay, so Silver, talk a little bit about this. So what might be going through Neohawk, Peter Haberstock's mind right now, swapping tank players?
Yeah, obviously the team saw something. I'm hoping that they're communicating together that, another character with some more shield and damage absorption would be helpful. And that's what made the switch. But, yeah, right now they seem really spread out, really confused. They got to get grouped together and focused up here, so...
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so it looks like I like seeing the pinging. The pinging's nice to see. It's a great way to non-verbally communicate, but I think this is where like the practice and the training comes before the game. Say, okay, what do you do when somebody pings a Widow up high, right? How do you unperch that? But I'm liking the pings. Looks like Mio. This is Piper doing a strategic retreat, healing up, and then getting back into the action. Okay, looks like we have Christopher Summick, C-Play Games, swapping up again. So the Bisons doing I said they're... Yikes. Okay, but by the way, Bison's doing a decent job swapping up characters, I guess keeping the opposing team on their toes, not knowing what to expect. But definitely, I would say, impacting their ability to strategize as a team. It looks like Bisons are about to take out the opposing team's tank, which is nice. We've got Star Trek fan here, comboing between debuffs, damages, and keeping support for the Bisons. Okay, let's take a look here. Looks like
if you look at C-Play, he switched up to Sombra, and I think this is a really good switch for this comp. Because both Reaper and Mei, the 2 DPS that the opponents are running, rely heavily on their cooldowns, which Sombra completely eliminates.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
I really like that switch up.
Yeah,
I do think that Neohawk's switch was to help with the Reaper, but he's obviously not quite as familiar with this character because the ability that would help with that Reaper, he's not using it really effectively yet. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Chris, C-Play Games. Again, just getting eliminated, but just that constant, pestering in the back of their ear, I think is really important. We're not playing bots; we're playing real characters, and when you're, just giving them that pause, that like, ooh, okay, well, where could they be? Could they be around here? That helps kind of like change up their game plans. And like you said, Silver, in the last after game 1, that like the Bisons have been playing their game, right? They've been responding to their strategies. So it's kind of nice giving the team even a small taste of that kind of like, okay, well, it looks like we're gonna have to play their game. It's kind of nice and refreshing to see here. Looks like we've got a Bison, almost a Bison team wipe. We still got C-Play Games for Summit, kind of causing havoc with the opposing team in the back lines. But he definitely has to watch out. He's not so far back that he's been neutralized.
Yeah, Sombra.
Good ult there.
The way that Sombra should be played is definitely with high communication. Like, you gotta make sure your team is taking the attention from the front so that they can't easily turn around and neutralize you. And I noticed that with the ult that he popped, his team was further back, so if he would have waited just a few seconds to neutralize their entire team, and then that Bob pop, they could have had a huge play. And that's why communication is super important when you're playing Sombra, because you need to work with your team, or you need to be like super good with the character.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to round 2 now. Bison's going on the offense. This will be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, hybrid's nice because you're mixing a couple different game modes, but also mixing up the responsibilities. So as opposed to having to have this kind of this strategic retreating on defense where you're falling back to to a more defendable position. Now. It's like, okay, well, how do we reverse that? The Bison saw what worked against them. The question is, what lessons are the Bisons going to take from that and utilize in their own gameplay? So the opposing team had the time to set up their defense. So now Bisons are giving the push. Okay, so this first choke point, definitely hard to break through. We've seen a lot of teams get halted at this initial choke point and not move up more than a few dozen meters. But let's take a look and see what the Bisons have. We got Christopher Summit again, swapping characters again. Targeting, nice, targeting that Widowmaker, neutralizing her, getting her off the roof. Came at a cost. And getting pushed by go-kart. Okay, so we have Muyo coming out. Okay, so you know what? Silver, tell us about Muyo's character.
Yeah, it's an interesting DPS character. Almost a combination DPS and support in a lot of ways because it can wall off and control a lot of area. Has the ability to do a lot of close range damage and slow effect, but not a lot of hit points. So we'll have to see how this plays out because it's an interesting character that has the ability to really change the game.
Yeah, maybe let's go Golden. Golden, if you were facing, this character. Sorry, I'm blanking on the character's name.
Character's name is May.
May. Okay, so Golden, if you were playing May, what kinds of things would you look for if you saw a May pop out around a corner? What kind of things would you look out for?
I would definitely make sure that I'm out of range of her beam. She has 2 different types of weapons. Her left click is a beam weapon. which also has a slow effect. You definitely don't want to be caught in that. Getting slowed in this game is basically a death sentence. And then once you're far enough away, she has to use her icicles, which you gotta be like they're a projectile weapon, so it's harder to aim than something like Soldier, which is just point and shoot. So I would definitely back up so she has to use her icicles and just keep moving around so she can't really hit you.
Nice. Bison's getting 2 KOs here and pushing up. Getting nice heals from the support. Looks like Star Trek fan kind of on his own, but it's alright. Circles back up with his team. Neohawk swapping out tanks again. I don't know if we're playing Heroes Never Bingo. But yeah, trying to get all the characters. And Bison's on the objective trying to capture it. Okay, we're seeing definitely better aggro decisions happening from Bisons, but ooh, again, there's that Reaper. Ooh, and unfortunately, Caleb Turton, Star Trek fan, wasn't successful in providing those supports, but it's all right. Bison's now mounting up another offense. They did it once, let's do it again. They do, however, only have 39 seconds to get on that objective, so time is of the essence. Let's take a look and see what the Bisons can come up with.
Yeah, they gotta go. They can't. They're trying to come up with something. And
they lost one of their healers, which was super rough when you're trying to do the final push. We also see that they're starting to almost panic and burn their special abilities. Like, I just saw their tank walk in, and that E was pushed a little early. So his E takes whatever damage comes at him and heals a little bit. So you definitely want to be right in the middle of them when you push that button. And it was just pushed too early for it to get the maximum amount of value that it could.
So let's talk about that. So obviously, loss for the Bisons in Game 2. Looks like we're going into Game 3 Escort as being a best out of 5. Okay, so let's see play of the game here. Okay, so beautifully executed ult. Essentially taking out the entire team with the exception of the tank, and then going up and mopping up Peter Haverstock. So yeah, awesome job there. Okay, so the use of the alts, because this has always kind of been, I don't want to say always been an area of contention, but when you're looking at, you know, the use of alts and your ability to produce alts, let's go golden. How many alts do you get in one, let's say, just a casual game of Overwatch?
It really has to depend on who I'm playing, because every single character, they build ults differently. So like Tracer, she builds her ult the fastest, but tanks usually build ult slower. And then it also depends on who I'm facing against and how much value that I get. So if you notice in the higher rank ones, you're not really, you know, diving in and getting full team swipes. You're usually playing back and definitely getting ult a lot slower than some of the lower ranks that I've noticed. I've recently been playing a lot of Tracer, so I get like probably 7 to 10 ults a game. But when I was playing D.Va, I would probably get like 3 or 4.
Wow, okay, so 7 to 10. Let's go Silver. Silver, you know, let's say a typical game, you're playing your main, how many ults would you get?
yeah, I don't know, a typical game, especially in comp here, or like in the esports competition, because things are relatively, you know, you're looking at probably 2 or 3 for the most part. Most players are going to see that, either 2 or 3 ults. Okay, the biggest thing again is combining those within the team, right? A lot of them can be used together, and that communication is what's key for the maximum effect, like Gold was talking about. So you really want to just talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's definitely the panic factor when you hear the opposing team firing up an ult, And, I think that's one of the most effective ways to break either, any plans from the opposition, whether it be an offensive plan or a defensive setup. You hear that ult, and all of a sudden that panic sets in, and you're like, oh my goodness, like what's about to happen? And then, yeah, you stack, maybe 2 or 3 ults together. I mean, the best laid plans, that's getting the equivalent of not punched in the face by hit by a truck. So it is nice seeing the Bisons using the ults. It's just, again, it's funny those moments where, it can be most advantageous to use an ult. But yeah, obviously in that last round, the Bisons were up against the clock. And pretty notable push. Okay, so let's go into what did we see there. So let's start with Gold this time. Gold, what kind of things did you notice? What were some good moments that you were like, yeah, awesome, good work, and what moments were kind of like, I'm confused?
Definitely near the end there, I noticed that they were scrambling, and being a player, that's when sort of panic sets in, and you're just trying everything that you possibly can to break through that front line. And at the end they just didn't. But something that I noticed was really good from the second round was when C-Play switched up to that Sombra and started taking out the Widow and taking out one of their supports and just kind of being annoying and taking that little bit of pressure off of his front line. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're firing right into Game 3, which is Escort. One team pushes a payload through checkpoints, the other tries to stop them in their tracks. Okay, so Bison's on the defense. Now, what makes this a little bit different than Hybrid is that the payload's already on the move. Now, we still see choke points. We still see defensible positions. You see that blue line on the ground there. That's the path that the payload's going to take. So Bison's right now coordinating. I know this map gave us a lot of trouble. I don't know if I got PTSD over this or not, but yeah, this map alone, I know we've been stopped once or twice on these. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bisons pull into this new season, this new round. And start testing out some defensive capabilities. Okay, and we're off. Silver, what are you looking for in this game?
Yeah, this map is definitely a position map. I'm looking for them to really focus on their position, work together, and pull off a good win here. So. I think that'll be the big thing. I'm watching Piper again, new DPS and her positioning. She's still just learning some of that, so that'll be a key one for me.
Okay, looks like we got Star Trek fans sticking around with C-Play Games. Looks like they spotted the opposition out of the corner of their eye, changed up their offensive or their defensive positioning here. Not doing too bad. We have Caleb Curtin, Star Trek fan, doing actually a good job of trying to get some of the aggro off his teammates. Although slowly running out, and I believe I just saw a grenade. Is that Junkrat?
There's definitely a Junkrat on the other team there, on the other side. So,
yeah,
yep, nice, good job.
Yeah.
I definitely really like that matchup with Zen and Bastion on the high ground, and then they have a Kiriko that can go between that high and low ground when Zen really needs it.
Yeah, Piper's running away here though. That's not what we want to see. Needs to stay engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to not turn and run when your tank is down. That's definitely a fear response. Your tank being down definitely makes that advancement a lot easier for the other team.
Yeah, no, she's got to get around the corner though and get eyes on things, especially as that character.
I think she's. We saw this actually last season with Piper, where Piper did like to wait behind corners. And then when the enemy team progressed, Piper would pop out and just start swinging for the fences. And actually, I think it was this map. I think it generally was this map, this position. So we're gonna see Piper Muyo going back to some of the old playstyles, which might not actually transfer over as well as it did when Piper was tank.
I want to call out the Zen Zarya ult that just happened,
Yeah,
where the Zarya got both of the healers. That Suzu was so well timed, giving Star Trek fan enough time to react and pop his ult that kept them both alive, and that definitely helped them keep the position that they do right now. Keeping your healers alive is super important.
Wow, I mean, again, you don't have heals. The tank would have been taken out right there. Still relatively low in health. And that's a tough call to make because, as a tank, you're like, hey, here we have a Junkrat. Oh.
Nice. Oh, Piper heard that ult, found the Junkrat, and eliminated him while he was ulting. That was a really good reaction there. Well done by Piper to
fearless reaction.
Yeah, and the presence of mind to hear that ult. The Junkrat is immobilized when he's ulting. So to take advantage of that was really well played by Piper there.
Yeah, definitely a fearless reaction. Bisons have control of the payload and doing a relatively decent job of halting it. They only have to hold it for another 7 seconds. And the first round will be less than 100 meters. You see here the opposing team working like stink, trying to get the payload moving. And we're in overtime.
There we go. Nicely done. Well done.
That was a good hold.
Yeah.
The communication was much better. Communicating with ults, communicating with position.
Coordination.
That's
coordination.
more. Yep. Much better. That was what I was hoping to see today. And like I said, first game of the year. There's definitely some nerves, especially this is only second season for some of these players. So, I'm really happy with what we just witnessed there. That was really good.
Yeah, I mean, especially a win at 99 meters. Not bad. That's not a bad win.
And defense is something we've been working on. It's been a struggle for us in these escort maps. Defense is not our strength usually. So to see that on defense, to hold them from that first point, really, really happy to see that.
Yeah. Okay, so now Bisons are now on the offensive, setting things up. I mean, I don't see necessarily too much of a character change from the Bisons, which maybe this is them finding their groove. I think Peter's found his tank. Seems to be going good. This is the guy from Moana.
I can't picture you.
he's very comfortable with this tank. This is probably the one he's played the longest. So, Diva's a character that we've seen some really great stuff with out of Peter in practice, and we're hoping that he'll continue to expand on that. But he's definitely comfortable with the abilities and the timing of his abilities on this character. So.
Absolutely. Okay, Bisons are now off. Bisons need to get the payload past the 99-meter mark in order to get the win. Essentially the first checkpoint. If they can get it to the first checkpoint, Bisons are laughing. Okay, Peter going in just absolutely hot and heavy. Unfortunately getting taken out, but hopefully putting a big enough kink into the opposing team's plans. Maybe not a bad strategy. Bisons have had a hard trouble with that first choke point, and looks like they've kind of just left Piper off to do her own thing with the payload. Looks like they forgot the payload.
It was really good getting in the face, forcing the issue on the high ground like that. It didn't work out exactly how you drew it up, but Peter did a great job just disrupting the defensive plan there.
Oh, absolutely.
And Piper babysitting the point, like we call it, doing a really great job just keeping that thing moving while you've got Chris and Peter
just causing havoc.
Causing havoc, right? And the fact that, look at that, they moved at 86 meters without stopping, just from that ability. So well done by Piper to keep moving.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Keeping the fight elsewhere. Bison slowly moving it 88 meters with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. let's take a look and see if the Bisons have what it takes to get this the rest of the way. We have Christopher Summix, he played games, getting respawn, trying to get back into the action before more of his team gets wiped. This is a tricky situation because Bison's doing a strategic retreat is good because again you don't want to get in a situation where you're 2v5. You're going to get taken out. It's better to just slowly fall back, wait for the to spawn, and then get back into the action. Bison's executed this beautifully. Let's take a look and see if they have what it takes to make that first push. Looks like the opposing team has set up a defensive position. They've coordinated. The Bisons didn't really give them a chance to adjust.
Good communication by the Bisons here, adjusting their attack plan based on what they were seeing out of the enemy there. Really well done.
Yikes, looks like an ult was used against the Bisons pushing. And for those of you who don't know, if the attacking team isn't on the payload, that payload doesn't, does not only stops moving forward, but actually starts slowly trickling back. So they need to make up for the loss of ground here. The opposing team hunting down Piper. Piper now getting respawned. And we see here the opposing team laying on the pressure. So things are looking a bit weird for the Bisons. They don't have very long. They definitely need to be coordinating their who they're aggroing right now. Kind of seems like they're shifting between both the right and left flanks, trying to keep pressure up. All right, Peter is seeing a target in his sight. Don't want to, this has to be a strategic decision to go and push that, just because again, if Peter didn't get anything from that. Nice evasion of an ult. Unfortunately, it was only Neohawk, Peter Haberstock, who avoided it. Bison's only having 21 seconds left to get to the objective and push it the rest of the way. Remember, we can get into overtime if it is contested. So we're going to take a look and see if the Bisons can make up the distance, break through the defense.
Yep. They got to go, though.
Okay, so we have here Peter on the objective, getting supported by his team. We are in overtime. Looks like Peter is taken out. The rest of the Bisons follow with that, which looks like round two goes to round two, and subsequently the game 3 goes to the opposing team. So now that's it for tonight's game. But we do have play of the game by the opposing team. Let's go take a look and see how that is done.
Yeah, this Bastion was really well positioned, and yeah, that definitely changed. It was a good game. Really happy to see this with the Bisons. I'll be interested to go back and see who we were playing and where they've been historically in the standings and stuff. They were a very good team. They communicated well as well, so congrats to them. But some really great stuff that I saw tonight out of the Bisons. I think they can walk out of this with their heads held high, and we can have some things to work on for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about next week. Let's talk about the strategy. We have a relatively, is a good showing. We had 6 players here, 5 playing, 1 sitting in the wings. Let's start off with Silver, then we'll go to Gold. So Silver, what are you going to be working on with the team next week? What's the strategy? What is your first impression about the strat going into practices?
Yeah, I think again, some really good things that we'll want to reinforce, and some really important things that we can take on and work through. So I think that biggest thing for this week, frankly, is we got finals coming up for our kids. So we're gonna keep keep the stress. We're going to keep the stress a little bit light on the esports side of things as we're just in preseason. Make sure that the kids are focused on their studies, and then just give them an outlet here, like any extracurricular activity. But I don't think we're going to go too hard this week, but some really great things to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Gold, what would you want? Seeing what kind of gameplay you saw, what do you think the Bison should focus on over this next, maybe week, 2 weeks going into the next preseason game. What practice, what training do you think they need to focus on?
I think target priority is something that the Bisons have always struggled with, even when I was on that team. But when we did manage to take them out one by one, it was definitely easier. So I think that is something to work on. Especially, like, even if you always are taking out that one person, it's always a 4v5, which is usually just a roll, anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, let's go closing remarks. Silver, any last things you want to say before we tune out for the night?
No, just appreciate everybody that logged in. Appreciate you for the commentary you provide. I know the feedback's been overwhelming that people that watch these streams enjoy how relatable you make it. So thank you for making the time, and looking forward to seeing everyone next week.
Oh, of course. Okay, well, happy to do it. Okay, Golden, last final words before we tune out for the night.
Definitely happy to be on this side of the stream rather than in the wings.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, I'm Andy Prokopchik. I'm here with Golden Shadow and Silver Shadow. This has been LCBI Esports out of Outlook, Saskatchewan. I hope everybody has a good rest of your Monday night. God bless, go Bisons, and we'll see you